Okay. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Dutayambi Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dutayambi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Dutayambi Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Tatayambi Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Tatayambi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Tatayambi Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from the happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Soha. Tayata Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Soha. Tayata Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Soha. So now we can get ready for the meditation. I hope that everyone is feeling nice and relaxed already. And of course, the meditation is going to help that even more so. Remember the purpose of meditation, though. It goes beyond just relaxing the mind. We're working to develop one-pointed concentration, or samadhi. When we develop this one-pointed concentration, it allows us to stay on an object of contemplation, for instance, for longer periods. And therefore, we're able to utilize our ability to investigate and analyze, to be able to understand the nature of that object and all phenomena eventually. So this meditation, which is based on morality. Remember, the Buddhist path can be summarized as the 3 trainings: training in morality, training in meditation or concentration, and training in insight or wisdom. And of course, this must be coupled with compassion and love and so forth too. So the meditation practice or the development of concentration must be based on morality. If we are moral, we're not going to feel guilty about anything. Our mind won't be shackled by feelings of remorse and guilt or any negativity, especially towards ourselves. So and even if we don't know about it, we tend to carry this. If we live immorally, then we tend to carry this around in us, in the back of our mind sometimes. We're not even aware of it on occasion. So, but it disturbs the mind. The more the mind is disturbed like this, the less opportunity we have to develop concentration. So that's intro to meditation today. So now you can gently close your eyes and your lips gently touching as you're breathing in and out of your nose, and bring your attention initially now to the body so that we can release any tension that we may have in the body, beginning at the bottom and working our way to the top of the body. Of course, you can do it the other way around too, no problem. So bring your focus to your feet and release the tension from your toes, the balls of your feet, the arches, the heels, and the top of your feet, as well as around your ankles and Achilles tendons. Now also release from the lower leg, your calf muscles and your shins, and around your knees, your upper leg, the quad muscles and the hamstrings, and around the middle of your body, the glutes, the hip flexors and the groin, lower stomach, on and just above your hips and your lower back. And further up your stomach, your sides, and to the center of your back. Your chest, under your arms, and your upper back, rhomboid muscles that run between the shoulders or the shoulder blades and the spine on either side, and the lateral muscles on the outside. Your upper trap muscles that run between the neck and the shoulders, as well as your shoulders, and your upper arms, biceps and triceps, elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, fingers, and thumbs. Now bring your focus up to your neck to release the tension from the front, sides, and back of your neck. And the back of your head, sides of your head, around your ears and temples. From your face, around your cheekbones and cheeks, and make sure you're not clenching your jaw. From your chin and mouth, both inside and outside. Your nose, sinuses, eye sockets, eyes, forehead, make sure you're not frowning. And finally, from the crown of your head, the top of your head. And now briefly scan your body from the bottom to the top, just to see if there's any tension that you've got left over that you can release. And when you've done this, bring your focus initially to the tip of your nose. The focus or the object of the meditation is the feeling of the breath as you breathe in and out. There's nothing else to do now. The past is gone, future's not here. So in this precious present moment, focus on your breath. As you breathe in, it passes your throat. It's quite cool. And then it enters your lungs, they expand. As you breathe out, they compress. And as it passes your throat on the way out your nose, It's quite warm being inside the body. So breathing in and breathing out. If thoughts appear or any mental agitation, any mental activity arises, don't cling to it, don't grasp at it. Don't try to forcefully push it away or deny it even. Just let it come and go naturally by refocusing on your breath. Once again, I'll remind you the three mental aspects. We have mindfulness, which is what we're doing. We're practicing anapanasati, or mindfulness of the breath, without judging. When your mind wanders from the object of the breath, you're aware of it without judging, and then you conscientiously replace it back onto the breath without judging. And also, if your mind becomes dull and sleepy, the other extreme, then wake it up a little bit by refocusing on your breath more brightly. This way, refocusing on your breath is the antidote for both the distracted and worried mind, as well as the dull and sleepy mind. So now we will practice like this in silence for a few minutes. Have no worries. So now you can feel very pleased with yourself for engaging in this meditation practice. However short it may be, it's still very good for you. It's always good that when we have the time, even if it's only a short amount of time, if we can focus our mind on the breath, breathing in and out, it's always with us. It's not as if we have to go and get something to use as the object of meditation. We're always breathing, and it's free, by the way. So you don't have to buy anything to meditate. So now fill yourself with loving kindness. We'll do a brief loving kindness meditation to finish off the meditation part of the weekly class. So feel yourself, really be friendly to yourself, really respect yourself, and appreciate yourself. You know, you deserve to be happy and cause happiness. You also deserve to be free from suffering and free from the causes of suffering. We just have to make a little bit of effort to make this happen. So fill yourself with so much loving kindness that it now overflows and radiates outwards, initially to your family and friends and loved ones. May they also be happy and free from suffering and be peaceful. Gradually radiate the loving kindness further and further, now to also include those you may regard as strangers, whether you know them only a little or not at all. This could be somebody down at the local shop, or somebody you walk past when you're out for a daily walk, or the petrol station, or anybody actually. May they be happy and free from suffering and be peaceful. And now also include those that you may regard as difficult, and may even regard them as enemies. May they also be happy, free from suffering and be peaceful. Like a tidal wave of loving kindness, radiate further and further gradually. Now to also include all of the living beings around your immediate area, all the living beings that live on the land and live in the waters, fly through the air. No matter what age, no matter what culture they associate with, or where they were born. All of the living beings. Radiate the loving kindness throughout your whole state or county. May all of the living beings have happiness, be free from suffering, and be peaceful. And include other states and counties until the loving kindness pervades the whole country. And now other countries, initially those you're familiar with and have an affinity for, and also those that you don't really know very well, and also those that you may not know at all, or even have some sort of funny feelings towards. May all of the people throughout the whole world and all of the other living beings throughout the whole world be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. May loving kindness pervade the whole planet and other planets. May it pervade throughout the whole solar system and other solar systems throughout the whole galaxy and other galaxies throughout the whole universe and other universes throughout infinite space. So this loving kindness that originates in your mind now pervades the whole of infinite space. And rejoice in this. And rejoice in the rejoicing, and so on and so forth. And now also be present here and now, and we will recite the dedication prayer before the talk. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious body Chitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of Shunyata, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. Right. So now you are full of loving kindness, and everything around you is full of loving kindness. I think it's wonderful. You know, loving kindness we can develop as we can with compassion. We can develop this to an immeasurable level. That's why, or one of the main reasons it's called an immeasurable. the four immeasurables of loving kindness, compassion, empathetic joy, and equanimity. It's also immeasurable because it can benefit innumerable living beings. Even if we don't have it now, and maybe it's fragmented at the moment, we can realize that we have it already. It's there, even if we only have a little bit of it. Now we need to expand this loving kindness, this compassion. Okay. Just a couple of announcements. First of all, may all of this merit that we dedicate today, or that we accumulate today, I should say, may it be dedicated to Leisha's mum, who's just yesterday had multiple bypass heart surgery. So, hopefully she has the speedy recovery, and thorough recovery as quickly as possible. And also on the other side, happy 60th birthday to Leanne, who's hosting today's class. And also hello to her family from all of us, because she's got, I think, a mum and a sister and cousins, I think, or something. I can't remember now. So they're all with her today. Okay, so beyond that, I just will share with you that some of you that look on my Facebook page will notice that I've been writing. It's actually rewriting, because I wrote it a few years ago initially, a brief history of Buddhism, and it's in 19 parts. That actually would be the last one today, and that I'll post on Facebook. And then after that, daily, I will start to repost the videos of these classes going back to the 1st of August. So I'll do that daily, okay? Except for the Saturdays, of course, where you'll get the new one. So I noticed that quite a few of you, and some people overseas, have been wanting to see the earlier ones. And I know it's a bit of a pain to have to scroll all the way down, your page, your Facebook page. Or it's not a hassle. Maybe it's a good energy. Maybe it's good that you make the effort, but I'm going to make it easier, okay? So I just thought I'd share that with you. And of course, along with the regular posts. Normally I post, say 1 or 2, or mostly 2, teachings from other teachers or from the Buddha himself, teachers from the past and present. And then I put some of my own writings there, 3 or 4 or 5 sometimes of my own teachings. So now this is going to have a video with it every time. So make sure you have a look. And so you can revise, maybe for some of you, some of these videos of the classes you didn't participate at that time. So you can catch up, because there's definitely an order that I've kept to in the teachings, beginning at the very basic teachings, okay? So I have little notes here, remind myself. We are talking about the 5 aggregates, or the 5 skandhas. Skandha, to remind you, literally translated means pile of or heap of. And these are the 5 aspects that make up a living being. The first one being a physicality or form. And then, of course, we have the 3 that help us to have personal experience. So this is our mental sensations or feelings, perception, and volition. You could also call that impulsive mental reactions. And then, of course, we have the consciousness. Everything is dependent upon the consciousness, of course. Without consciousness, we won't have any experience at all. We cannot see something with our eyes, and the object outside, like this computer right now, without consciousness, we don't experience it. So I think it's really important that we know that, and contemplate and bring it to your mind often. Really understand that we really want to have happiness initially, right? Eventually, we want to be free. We want to be what we call enlightened, and we have the potential to achieve this, to attain this. And even if we only have a little bit of knowledge right now, a little bit of compassion right now, then we can expand this, or we can increase it, eventually perfect it. Okay. So how physical and mental factors work together to produce personal experience. The examples that we gave last week, I'll just give you some brief reiteration, if you want, on this. So like a walk in the garden. You go out into the garden or in the park or something, and you go for a walk. maybe your eyes come into contact with an object, and then from that, you perceive that object. So let's say, for instance, you see a beautiful tree that's flowering, and you perceive that object, and then you normally habitually respond to that or react to that. Now, if you like trees that are blooming with their flowers, then normally you probably will react with some sort of attachment. But it does give rise to some sort of pleasant feelings, doesn't it? And so, but if you come into contact with something that scares you, let's say you're out in the evening time or whatever, or maybe I'll give a simpler example. You're out there and the sun's shining, and all of a sudden dark clouds come over and you get soaking wet. Then quite often this will give rise to some sort of unpleasant feeling. And then you habitually react to that. But also remember that in this habitual, or with this habitual reactions, which comes from conditioning from the past, you also have in the present a volition or an intention. So we actually can change our reactions. We don't always have to react in the same way, react in even an angry type way to something that you find unpleasant, or react with attachment and clinging and always wanting something that you find pleasant. We can change this. We can become more compassionate, hence the reason I mentioned that before. And then you can become more wise even now. So we can experience life without having the shackles of thinking that we don't change. I am me. This is mine. This is my way. We're always changing, actually. The conditions are always changing, outside and inside. So the walk in the gardens like that. Also, other examples, you could say going for a swim. Let's say you go for a swim in the ocean or in the river or the lake or a local swimming pool. And, quite often you go down there, then you have a feeling in your breath, the water. Let's say it's a really hot day, and then you get this cool water. It's normally very nice. Initially, sometimes it can actually be, maybe not so nice, but then you get used to it. So this is your tactile sensation. This is the body sense coming into contact with an object that it is feeling. Okay, so this is another way you can say personal experience. There's also people, some people you like, just like in the loving kindness meditation. Sometimes you come into contact with someone you really like. This gives rise to really nice feeling. Now, whether you know them or not, you have some sort of connection from the past as well. And so then this is very nice. But then you may come into contact with somebody you find irritating, or there's somebody that has been really nasty towards you, or those you love in the past. And then this gives rise to the negative feeling, and we react mentally to that. And then often, actually, people will react physically, verbally as well. So we have to protect ourselves from reacting in a negative way. I mentioned previously that I have the teaching that I like to call the buffer zone. And this is creating a buffer zone between the perception of your experience and your reaction and your intention. So, create that little gap. Some people years ago used to say, before they get angry, they say, I'm going to count to 10. This is a technique for not reacting. This is helping to create a buffer zone. But I think that we, Buddhist practitioners, we already have some sort of mental training, don't we? So because we made the choice to be Buddhist, especially those that have become Buddhists in this life, maybe not born into Buddhist culture, but you made the choice. So you're making an effort to change for the better already, And so we need to increase this all the time. Animals is another one. You quite often use the example of a spider. A lot of people don't like spiders. The spider comes and lands on your head, then you tend to freak out, don't you, normally? But actually, if we have more loving kindness, we can realize, actually, I say this with humor, but also a bit of seriousness. Maybe this was your auntie in the previous life, maybe you used to sit on her head a lot. Now she's come to sit on your head. So only mucking around, but serious teaching on karma as well. Okay. So our attention focuses on an object, and we consciously become aware of this object. But it's now indeterminate. It's the perception that identifies that object. So now I'm just reiterating previous classes, previous weeks. Then it gives rise to some sort of feeling, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral feelings. This also gives rise to hope and fear. We hope to have pleasure. We hope to have some sort of happiness, and we fear having displeasure, or we fear having some sort of suffering. This hope and fear arises because we attach to a self. But more on that later. Then we react to that object with initially a mental formation, which is really the conditioned response from our habits from before, as well as a volition or an intention in this moment. With intentional actions, we tend to create some sort of attachment, or they come from some sort of attachment or some sort of aversion, which, once again, I remind you, attachment and aversion are kind of like the two opposites, but they're kind of the same thing. You could call them two attachments, and they arise from a lack of understanding, from ignorance. That's the root cause, gives rise to the dualistic way of thinking, okay? So we either want to pick something up or we either want to put it down, isn't it? Once again, I'll go back into the garden. You go into the garden and you see a beautiful little squirrel that's very playful. You want to pick it up, give it a cuddle. But if you see a snake, a poisonous snake, you want to run away from it, Whereas in reality, they're all living beings, okay? But don't pick up the snake if it's poisonous, just in case, okay? So you got to look after yourself as well, physically. So the 5 aggregates work together in everything we do, constantly. There's not a moment as a human being that we are not engaged. They're not engaged with these 5 aggregates, okay? It's every moment, and it produces these personal experiences, especially, specifically those 3 in the middle. Now, I'll give another example. This class, okay? Get rid of that piece of paper so you don't have to repeat. And so this class, for instance, you are looking at the computer, you're hearing my voice and also seeing an image of me on the computer. And this, you will perceive this, you will perceive this as the Dharma teacher giving a Dharma talk. And then you will, through conditioned mental impulses, you react in a certain way, as well as having a volition here and now, okay? This gives rise as well to some sort of feeling. Maybe you have a pleasurable feeling right now. Maybe you find this teaching unpleasant right now, either to do with your conditioning from the past and bringing it into this moment, okay? And maybe you find it really boring. So maybe that's like an indifferent type of way of reacting to it. So we respond to the conditioned reaction. We also pay attention, some sort of attention that you're paying. Once again, this is through habits, but also you're making an effort here and now to pay attention and to get some sort of understanding from what it is that I'm sharing. Also, you may have certain levels of interest, isn't it? Some days you may be really interested, really enthusiastic. Other days you may be tired. Maybe you don't feel well. So the interest is maybe not as vivid, not as strong as it would be if you were feeling really good. So this is constantly changing once again. Impermanence again. Like I said before, it may be giving rise to some sort of boredom. Maybe there's a disinterest there. Or maybe you find the teachings confronting. Because actually the Dharma, you could say loosely that the Dharma is there to totally destroy the ego, destroy the attachment to the self, which is the root cause of all of our suffering and all of the suffering throughout infinite space, you could say. Okay, so if we are confronted with the Dharma, then calm your mind. Don't react, Give yourself that buffer zone and go, okay, I don't agree with that teaching right now, but let me think about it for a little bit. And maybe I'm not understanding the words yet. So let me contemplate on the words. Maybe I don't have the meaning because of that. Or maybe I'm blocking myself because of my habitual tendencies to understand that. We all like to believe we're a self, okay? I remember years ago, getting more and more involved with the Dharma and reading more and reading some really deep teachings when I was a lot younger. And there was a feeling of resistance, and I realized soon after that this is my habitual tendency to protect the so-called self, resisting to understand this teaching. Okay, and that's why we say the one of the types of patience that we must practice, one of the paramitas or perfections that we need to perfect, and one of the aspects here is the patience with, or patient with, the nature of reality. And what that means, really, we're being patient with ourselves and our lack of understanding of the nature of reality. We don't understand it yet, otherwise you'd be Buddhas already. Okay, so don't be offended by the Dharma. Okay, so that is, it's a genuine reaction that we could have. So just be aware of it when you do. And actually, if you want to ask questions, then shoot me a text or call or write an email or something, and then we can discuss that way. Okay. I think that'll do for the moment. I did actually want to finish this part of this teaching today, but as per normal, these classes being so short, I didn't get there. I want to continue next week. We will talk about impermanence. All of these aspects, these 5 skandhas or 5 aggregates, are impermanent. And all of the constituents within these 5 are also impermanent. Impermanent doesn't mean, okay, it stays the same for a little bit. No, it's actually constant change. All phenomena, you can say, come into being, they arise, then they have some sort of existence, and then they disintegrate and go away. So they rise and fall. But this is not, static. This is dynamic. This is constantly happening. Okay. So I know we're under a minute, maybe 30 seconds or so to go. And I'll just keep talking. I don't mind if I get cut off a little bit. I just encourage you to practice. When I post this video, either later tonight or tomorrow, then maybe if you have time,